Okay everyone, so in this video today, we're going to be going over a couple of things or upgrades you can do to your transom bag. This should work on all the transom bags, whether it's a 19 foot, 21, 24, 25. And what these upgrades include is a way to drain the bags easily when you're done, and also a way to add 2 throw over ballast pumps to this to fill the bag up twice as fast. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can go ahead and you can buy one of these regular bag fittings. These are your normal bag fittings, and I'll have links for all this down below. But instead of unscrewing your drain valves and then hanging on to the plugs and trying not to lose them, you can go just like that and drain it out. The other thing is that I've added this is a one-way check valve. So the way we're able to fill this up with 2 pumps is we use the traditional pump up here, which is where this cap is. This is where we normally would fill it up. This is our air valve. And so to add a second pump, we can't add another one of these quick disconnect valves right here, because if we do that, we have no way of getting the air out as the water fills and fills and fills. So our only option is to do it from the bottom here. Now, we could fill it from this side, we could fill it from this side, it doesn't matter. I chose this side because I can walk and physically get to it, not reach over the bag and do it there. Now, another concern you're gonna have is, well, let's say I use this one. As soon as I pull the pump off, water is gonna come flying out and I gotta work really fast to get this cap on. If we use this one-way check valve, and look up in the top, I'll put a link in the description on a complete review of this and how well it works. And there'll be a link and a card and all that good stuff. But this actually has a little rubber valve, and I'll open this up so you can see. And there's just a little, and I don't know how well you're gonna see that, but there's just a little flap right there. So that flap only goes one direction. So as you're pumping the water in, water is able to go through. When you pull everything off, the pressure from the water pushes against the flap and seals this up. It's just a check valve. It's just a check valve with a fly high quick disconnect fitting on it. Now, to empty it, we use this. This is what comes with this kit. This right here is typically screwed on to the bottom of these pumps. So that way when you go to empty your bag, you put that on there and then you can empty it. But for me, the sake of draining, I put this in here that pushes the flap in and allows water to drain out. Now, another thing I went ahead and did is I went ahead and I drilled a hole on this, and I took this chain apart and ran it through there just to keep this all together so I don't lose it. That was one of the biggest things. Now, to pump it up, you're gonna see that I have a couple of short hoses here. I went ahead, since I only use these for this bag, I went ahead and just cut these to length to what I need. I don't need much hanging off the bottom here. And this just makes it nice and convenient for using the hoses. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll fill this bag back up and I'll show you my final setup here. So just when we're out in the lake, just like you would normally do, I go ahead and I hook this pump on, like so. And so now I got this one pumping water all the way into the bag. And then this one right here is hooked up right there at the top, and then it is hanging over this way. Another tip for doing this is putting these 90s on your ballast hose, and I'll show you that here in just a second too as well. Top of the boat, and as you can see, with having that 90, it allows this to hang over the side of the boat really nice. You don't have this big hose worrying about kinking it or anything else. And so let me go ahead and hook this up. And then there you go. Lays over just nice, and it's deep enough to sit in the water. Not too long, not too short. But again, adding this little 90 right here makes it really, really nice. And then the last thing I did, and this thing's gonna start to deflate a little bit, because now that I have 2 pumps running, I went ahead and I drilled my air valve. I drilled it quite a bit bigger. So now when this thing fills up, I leave that air valve open pretty good, and this bag will stay inflated, so it'll keep its shape, and then it pumps up super fast. So what's the investment in doing all this? What are we looking at? Let's recap. Well, we're looking at a quick disconnect fitting. We're gonna be looking at the check valve style quick disconnect fitting. And then you're gonna need a couple of pumps. These are the Super Tsunami pumps. I went ahead and again, I also bought a 90-degree fitting, and I did them on both pumps, the long one and the short one. That way, again, the pump just comes off and comes down. It's not trying to make a goofy bend. It's just nice and clean. I also take my wiring. I put my wiring in this sheathing right here. I'll put the link in the description as well. And then I just tape it to the side. This just keeps everything neat. So when you throw it in your locker or wherever you keep your stuff, you know, you're just not tripping all over it. This makes it nice. And this is just, again, just a plastic sheathing. Just makes it, it can slide up against stuff, whereas the regular corded end kind of just gets hung up on stuff. Again, I use a splitter. So that way I can plug these into one socket. Now, depending on where your socket is in your boat, if you have it close by or if it's in the back, you know, that's going to depend on your length. So it is kind of a custom setup, but it works awesome. And if you wanted to, you could even use this quick disconnect valve. You could use this up at the top. So that way, once the bag is full and you pull that lid off, water always comes gushing out. You can prevent that from happening. And so yeah, that is it. And again, I'm in a fortunate position where I already had these pumps because this is what I used to fill up all my bags before I had an internal ballast pumps. If it was me, I'd find these, maybe not the Tsunami ones, but you could find cheaper ones used online. It's like the older ones. And if you got 2 of them, that thing is filling up super fast. So that's my 2 cents on it. You don't have to do this. 1 pump works just fine. But for us, 2 pumps is fantastic. And the other thing is too, when we're done with this, all I do is I come down here, I go like that, it starts draining. I pull this lid off right here. I put that in. And now it's draining. I keep a rope attached from there to the cleat, and then I just hit the drains on my internal kit, and we just take off driving, and this bag will completely drain out, and it'll be held on by the rope so it doesn't come flying off the swim platform, and then it's done. It's a piece of cake. So I hope you guys like this video. Hope I explained this well. And again, I'll put a link in the description with what the kit is. And again, it's just two extra components you got to buy. This, the quick disconnect, and the check valve. Of course, you need 2 pumps, and go from there. You know, these little 90-degree elbows you can get at any hardware store, and that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Have fun this summer. See ya. Bye. Jet boat, baby. Jet boat.